Nebraska won the toss, will defer. And the Cornhuskers trying to grab win number 6, and we'll see Josh Rosen, the true freshman quarterback, spearhead his offense. Off we go on the Foster Farms Bowl. Roosevelt Davis on the return for UCLA, and he gets no more than the 21-yard line. So we'll see 6'4", 210, Josh Rosen.
He is the real deal, a guy who from the pocket can make you pay, runs an up-tempo offense, is a very accurate quarterback, quick release, gets rid of the ball in a hurry. He will make you pay if you don't move him around in the pocket.
What's his best attribute, do you think?
Quick release, right behind that, accuracy. I mean, he sees the field. He's got a really nice arm.
He'll run the pitch first on the reverse, and Steven Johnson on the carry to the 25 on the first touch, knocked down by Nate Gary, the junior safety.
Always a little trickeration, a little something in the bowl season. Practice all that time. Got to find a way to keep the guys interested, huh?
How about it? This is a loaded wide receiver team, and Johnson deeper on the depth chart for the Bruins, and Rosen, who will run tempo in this game. And a whistle before the play gets underway. Flags down. Ron Cherry with his first call.
74 offense. It's a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
It's on the junior Caleb Benenoch.
You know, Jason, we should note, since there's a flag on the offensive line, this is an offensive line that has been reworked a little bit.
They lose the junior Alex Redmond, who signed with an agent before the bowl game, not eligible to participate, so some shuffling there. And they'll run it with Paul Perkins. He breaks a nice one across the 45 and high-stepping into Cornhusker territory. First down, UCLA.
Good block by Caleb Benenoch, who was flagged on that last play. You saw the athleticism he showed in pulling around. You see him come around there, and he gets a neat block right there on Banderas, and that springs Perkins.
27 yards on the run for Paul Perkins, who's now over 1,300 on the season for the Bruins. Quick hitter for Devin Fuller. He'll throw it himself, and contact on the sideline. Incomplete. Chris Jones got tangled up defensively with Jordan Payton.
Tangled up? Yeah,
that's being kind.
They were wrestling down the sideline. Now, this is mutual combat. They're both throwing hands at each other to push each other off, and I think that's a good no call by the official. Good no call.
And contact on the line. That was Malik Collins jumping for Nebraska.
Offside. Defense, number 70. It's a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
We will throughout the night hear from college football rules expert Dave Kataya, who's with us in the booth this evening, on any questionable calls that we force him to make a judgment on. Offsides against Collins, 2nd and 5. Delay draw. Perkins finds a little crease and gets hit by Rose Ivy, the linebacker, Michael Rose Ivy, 3rd down.
Jason, the matchup that is really important for Nebraska here is really up front with number 7 Malik Collins and 98 Vincent Valentine. Those two defensive tackles have got to be good against the run inside for Nebraska.
Top 10 rush defense in the country, number 9 coming in. They allow 113 a game. Call it 3rd and 4. Freshman Rosen, quick set and a beautiful grab across the middle for the first down by Thomas Duarte.
Duarte is a matchup issue. He goes about 6'4", 225, and he's working against a freshman, Aaron Williams, out there.
It's his 27th catch in his last 6 games for Duarte. And you said it before the game, the slot could be an issue for UCLA's offense against Nebraska's defense.
A lot of speed at the slot position against some solid but average defenders.
Rosen again, quick hitter to Darren Andrews, and they do like that quick release, as you mentioned, from Rosen.
Ball comes out in a hurry. They believe in getting to the perimeter. They want to attack you there. It's an inside-out offensive attack. They pound you with Perkins. They throw the ball out into the perimeter, and then when you're least expecting it, they hit you downfield with the slot matchup.
It's Andrews in motion again. Rosen goes that way. And nice open field tackle by the Huskers and Josh Kalu, the sophomore defensive back. Sort of a thinned out defensive backfield for the Huskers.
Yeah, thinned out, but they're playing 6 defensive backs right now against UCLA. And that's a signal for UCLA to run when they can, but obviously not here on a 3rd and 9.
Bruins 22nd in the country, 45% on 3rd down. Rosen checking out of the play. Another quick hitter, Perkins. Breaks a tackle, Perkins lost the football and it ends up out of bounds. There's a flag down as well. Antonio Reed knocked it free and will check the marker.
Ball was fumbled forward and out of bounds, being returned to the spot of the fumble.
Well, by the looks of it, that will move the ball back before it gets to the 1st down marker.
So as the ball was fumbled out of bounds forward, it will move back to the original spot of the fumble, and that's about 1.5 yards, 2 yards short of the 1st down line.
4th down situation. Of course, they'll go for it here.
Nate Starks is in as the running back. Starks off the play action. Rosen, a beautiful strike. Duarte out of bounds.
Duarte, we talked about him being a matchup issue. He's a guy who is also a good blocker. So on a 4th and short, he shows blocking and then simply releases into the flat completely alone. Now, did he get in? Follow the ball. Does it break the pylon and is he in bounds? That looks pretty close, like he's in.
For now, UCLA is at the 1, and they will stop it.
Timeout.
Jim Mora visiting with Ron Cherry.
You probably heard Jim Mora say that's a touchdown.
UCLA is challenging the ruling on the field.
So as you look at
the ball was
this,
short of the line of the game.
clearly the ball hits the pylon, but look at his right leg. Is the knee down before he crosses? And he's not out of bounds there. So it looks to me, yeah, that's probably a good call. Probably just shy of the goal line, given that his knee is down before the ball hits the pylon.
Again, we're looking for any part of the football crossing the plane.
But remember, it has to be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. And given how close that is, yeah, that's a pretty good call in real time to get that he wasn't in the end zone. But that knee looks to be down before the ball breaks the plane there.
Be difficult to say indisputable on a play like this.
Yeah. And remember, indisputable means you can't just substitute your judgment. You can't say, well, I think he was in. You have to have clear evidence, and there you see the knee is down.
Yeah. Watch for contact with the ground.
Yeah. And it looks to be 6 inches, a foot before.
We mentioned Dave Kataya's here, the college football rules expert. What are they looking at there?
Rod and Jason, great comments there. You look at that knee down, the ball does look short, but that being said, you mentioned indisputable. There's nothing that's indisputable about this. The call on the field should stand.
You don't think there's any way that you can say indisputable on that?
Well, you see
Jason,
that's exactly
he said we're right, so we should just go with that.
I have a difficult time accepting compliments.
Accept it, be happy with it, move on.
Very, very good comments there, but the point being is, as soon as that knee starts dragging, the minute it contacts the ground, that runner's down at the forwardmost point of the forward part of the ball.
And
to me,
Dave,
it looks short.
Dave, would you say this is taking so long right now because they're looking at where to spot it?
After review, the ruling on the field stands. Please note that UCLA will not be charged a timeout as we are being paid simultaneously with the request to challenge.
So stands not confirmed.
Which is exactly what you guys said about indisputable. You're 100% right. Stands means there's nothing to change the call on the field. That is 100%.
Thanks, Dave. Continue tweeting at your constituents. We'll check with you later.
And make sure you tell them that we had it right, too. Yeah.
So as it stands now, UCLA is about a yard short of opening the scoring in this Foster Farms Bowl. And again, Jim Mora not charged a timeout with the simultaneous page of the officiating crew. First and goal. Perkins finds the end zone. His 14th score.
This is not a good sign for Nebraska. Just a opening drive that used everything UCLA wanted. Power runs inside, attacking the perimeter, little trickeration, and they're on the board.
And we've yet to see Mike Riley's offense. Opening drive touchdown for the Bruins and their very talented kicker, Kaimi Fairbairn, for the extra point. He came in 44 of 44 in point afters, and that one was dicey for a moment. It ends up through 7-0 Bruins. Opening drive touchdown. Paul Perkins caps it off after 10 plays, 79 yards. That game can keep the Big Ten unbeaten in bowl season. Nebraska trying to maintain that as well. Trailing UCLA 7-0 early on. And a touchback gives Nebraska the ball at the 25. Rod, that big play on the drive.
Yeah, let's go back to this play. It's really interesting. Here's Duarte here. Watch how much he sells this fake block. This is a tremendous effort by him. He really sells that. Now watch here. You get a little extra help there. A little, not a pick, but just a block, I'm sure, by a receiver after the fact. Keeps the defense from possibly getting involved at all. And almost a score.
There's a fan base in South Bend that's saying, we know what pick plays look like. We don't want to hear about that.
Yeah. They're only picks if they get called.
That's right. So Nebraska behind Tommy Armstrong, the junior quarterback. A run-heavy team, and they will run it on first down here with Imani Cross. Second down coming up. Armstrong back and forth this year, 21 touchdowns, 16 picks.
Yeah, you know, it's been a little bit of the good and the bad, and he would tell you that after the Iowa game, he had 4 picks in that game. He went to his teammates and he said, I lost you guys that game. I'm sorry. I got to be better. I got to work harder. I'll get better at this. And his teammates loved that. They said, it's not your fault, man. We're all a team in this. But I think that was a good start for him on the way to this ball game and next year.
First season under a new head coach and Mike Riley. That's Divine Ozigbo, the young running back, driven back by the Bruins, and Eli Anku, the junior out of Ottawa, third down.
And Jason, I think you will see, by and large, the game plan for Nebraska to run at a UCLA defense that has struggled against the run. And that's why they came out with the first 2 plays and didn't do well there running the ball. Now, this is the issue for Tommy Armstrong. In obvious passing situations, can he take care of the football? You mentioned the interceptions. Taking care of the football, giving your team a chance.
And a whistle before 3rd and 5. We'll have a timeout.
Timeout. UCLA. It's the first charge. Timeout.
So Jim Mora, the 4th-year head coach, burns a timeout for the Bruins. 7-0 UCLA, and a key 3rd down early in this one for the Huskers. The Foster Farms Bowl around the corner. Armstrong.
Pocket passer. Can he deliver from the pocket? UCLA wants to keep him in the pocket. They don't want him to escape and run around and extend the play.
Quick hitter and incomplete. Flag comes in late. John Johnson, the redshirt sophomore, was there on the coverage of Stanley Morgan.
Right side of your screen, take a look and see the end of the play. He's got the right hand on the backside, kind of pulling him, preventing him from reaching out fully for the football. You can put your hand on the receiver, but you can't restrict him. You can't turn him, and you can't restrict him.
Kind of the grab and twist there.
Yeah, well, you can touch him to get yourself set like you're for a rebound, but you can't pull, turn, or restrict.
Imani Cross is checked in as the tailback. And you mentioned Nebraska might be run heavy. Time of possession key for the Huskers. There's Cross on first down.
Yeah, they'd like to keep the UCLA offense off the field, dominate the time of possession. And teams have, by and large, run the ball against UCLA quite well. I mean, when you lose 3 star players defensively, it affects your ability to stop teams. Miles Jack.
Eddie Vanderdoes.
Yep. Fabian Moreau.
Cross on first down, and on second down they go back there. About a half a yard short of the marker. Kenny Clark, one of those stalwarts on the defensive line, with the stop. Second on the team in tackles, a top NFL prospect himself, a junior. First man through, and very close with Andy Janovich, the senior fullback. Just his 37th carry of the year, and he's got the first down. That's Husker football right there.
Well, yeah, it's what you're going to see tonight. I mean, you're talking about a defense that was ranked pretty low in rush defense. Number 88, 188 yards a game allowed. And there were some teams that just ripped them. And Stanford ran for more than 300 yards against them.
USC ran the ball nearly 60 times in that finale of the regular season. And Nebraska lines it up, goes straight ahead again with Cross. Sizable gain. Anku the tackle. 2nd and 5 on the way.
You know, when you lose a Miles Jack, you wind up playing a guy like Jalen Brown, who's a really good football player, but he's on the thin side for a linebacker. He's 6 feet tall, less than 220 pounds, and he's taking on guys who are 300 pounds. He's quick, athletic, and plays hard. It's almost unfair to ask him to do it, but he's doing it the best he can.
Manageable 2nd down. Armstrong, the connection across the 35. Brandon Riley, who had the game winner against Michigan State. First down, Huskers.
On time, nicely well thrown ball by Armstrong. In a good place where Riley could continue to move.
Personal foul. That's a 15-yard penalty. First down.
Post-play flag against Tack McKinley, the junior out of Richmond, California. Very highly penalized UCLA team. Strikes again in that department.
And he's also one of those guys who stepped in to help out after Vanderdoes was injured.
You mentioned those thinner players, and McKinley's one of those guys that wants to put on more weight after this year.
Well, he's less than 250 pounds, and he's playing on the defensive line. And every play, he's battling a 300-pound lineman.
Straight up the middle again. This is Ozigbo. He's got 5 more. Nebraska's been solid on first down, gains of 5.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's the place they want to continue to run. That's where Kenny Clark is. Big old number 97, a guy who is trying to make a decision about going to the NFL or not. He got a draft rating back from the NFL as a 2nd rounder, and if he comes back for UCLA, it really helps him next season.
You think Nebraska's best off running away from Clark tonight?
Absolutely. You may win one now and again, but not consistently against him.
Opening drive of the night for Nebraska. Ozigbo with an agile run to the 12, very close to the stick on second down. Jaleel Wadu, the sophomore safety, with the stop.
Power football. This is the game plan. Use your size advantage. Try and pound UCLA. Use Armstrong sparingly through the air.
Down markers are actually different on one side of the field to the other. One says second down, one says first down, so they will coordinate that and administer it down to the field. Far side has joined up the first down parade. And so we will have first and goal, Nebraska. Ozigbo caught up in the wash after a gain of 1.5. Second and goal.
Yeah, that's in there where that guy number 97 lurks. Clark.
Well, post-play malfeasance draws a sigh from the crowd. No flag. It was Jayon Brown coming in after the play. Second and goal, Nebraska. 71% red zone touchdowns this year for the Cornhuskers. They'll run it with Cross, putting the shoulder in. Still fighting. And he's down at the 1. Brown had to drag him back. Third and goal. Strong run.
I think Nebraska is committed to being physical tonight. They brought in another receiver and then moved their tight end Carter over to the side they were trying to run the football, and then just attack the outside with a fullback as well.
Tom Rathman days.
Yeah, exactly. They're going back old school.
Third and goal. Cross is in.
Power football. And Jason, we talked about the smaller players at UCLA. Look at all the beef getting in there, pushing back UCLA players. Hardly was Cross touched getting across the goal line.
Imani Cross, the first Nebraska player over 25 touchdowns in fewer than 300 carries with all the running backs they've had come through there. It's a pretty stark number. Both teams did what they want on their opening drives. Nebraska, power is in, 12 plays, 75 yards, and nearly 6.5. And we've got a tie in Santa Clara.
Today in Nebraska history.
I am Hip's going to be pretty happy he came before Roger Craig, gotta say, in Santa Clara.
The way it came up in my head, not in the record books.
We welcome those of you just joining us on ESPN who watched Frank Bieber's final game. Virginia Tech defeated Tulsa 55-52. Roosevelt Davis snaps off a nice return for the Bruins, who scored on their opening drive. That's a 35-yard return to set up the freshman Josh Rosen. A pass-heavy UCLA team on that opening drive, though Perkins had some nice runs.
Yeah, that's kind of what you expect out of UCLA. But look at Nebraska. 12 plays, 11 rushing plays. Armstrong threw it only one time, but for the pass interference. And that's a clear sign that Nebraska wants to pound UCLA's defense and be physical.
So you're saying we likely won't see 107 points in this one like they had in Shreveport, as UCLA goes on the ground with Perkins, a talented redshirt junior out of the state of Arizona. Second down.
You know, you mentioned that game, and that last kickoff reminded me that speed. You know, we talk about Nebraska, UCLA, speed. UCLA has a decided speed advantage, and Mike Riley admitted it.
Scared of that, especially on special teams as this game wears on. Rosen flings it for Duarte. Incomplete. How does Nebraska combat that speed advantage, especially when UCLA has the ball?
Well, I think in the special teams area, you will see them try and kick the ball away a little bit or kick it higher. Now, when they're on offense, here's where you get a look at this penalty.
Got an ineligible receiver, number 72 offense downfield. That's a 5-yard penalty.
Can I say thank you?
Second
Yes.
down.
This is one of the few times that we've seen the flag fall for a lineman on this run-pass option play where the quarterback can make that decision. The lineman gets down the field, and they don't call it. They just called it right there. I want to applaud this crew.
The applause
I've been
signs
waiting
on
all
for
season.
Ron Jerry and his crew here in the Foster Farms Bowl.
Yeah, if we can just get it done uniformly, you know. It's so unfair to the defense. You know, you got linemen going 5 yards down the field. It looks like a run play.
Nebraska does decline the penalties. A 3rd down and long for Rosen, the true freshman, and the Bruins. Giving ground, Rosen wings it incomplete. Jordan Payton was the closest. And 4th down on the way. Jack Gangwish coming with heat on Rosen.
That is the key to defending Rosen. Make him move his feet. Get him off his spot. The teams that have been successful against UCLA have forced him to do this. Backpedal, move left, move right. He's not the same quarterback, which is why I said at the beginning, as far as being in the pocket, delivering the football, he's as good as anybody.
Got him off his spot
Get
there.
him off the spot, a little different.
Jordan Westerkamp waves this one off. And Nebraska will have the ball deep in its own territory after a 45-yard punt by the senior Matt Mengel. We have taken
Game with the punt. Otherwise, I would have missed it. I was trying to get to the airport.
How about it?
Yeah.
So you were driving along and
Yeah,
watching
like,
at the same time?
I was in a car with a few other colleagues, so we all had it going. It was great.
Michigan State had some close ones this year, that's for sure. Nebraska involved in one of them. Imani Cross hunting for a couple of yards. And you said it, Nebraska very content to bleed some clock in this game.
Yeah, and you know, the other thing is that the power aspect of it is clear. They're using a lot more of Cross and Ozigbo than Newby. And Newby's the speed guy, but his speed gets a little bit negated by UCLA speed. So they're lining up running at this UCLA defense.
Haven't seen Newby yet, so Ozigbo is in, Cross is out, and we've seen the freshman out of Texas, Ozigbo, who had 18 carries coming in for a few touches already in the first quarter. Armstrong under pressure, got it off on the screen. Ozigbo slicing inside and dancing across the 35, 1st down. Gain of 15.
How about Mike Riley just taking pressure off of Armstrong? You know, he's not asking him to make big throws. Here's a nice screen play. This is only the 3rd pass he attempted. One was pass interference. Just invite the defense in. A nice safe pass. So the confidence that Armstrong needed after that Iowa game where he had 4 picks, the confidence is coming back.
Couple practice weeks leading up to the bowl game. We've seen players get better and better over the course of time. Ozigbo had the screen, and he's got the carry for a loss of 1. How much does that bowl preparation help individual guys? How much can it help?
Well, it can help you a lot, particularly if you're a young player. The thing for older players is that it allows you to go back to basics, back to fundamentals, and then you focus in on the game plan. So it's a good time to get healthy, too, which is why they take the freshmen and the red shirts and let them beat up on each other. Let the other guys get healthy.
Healthy competition.
Yeah.
2nd and long for Nebraska and Armstrong. Nice pickup of McKinley, and Armstrong gets it away just short of the 45 to the tight end Cethan Carter, who you thought could be big in this game.
Well, he is a matchup issue. Now, the problem for him right now is that this is a conservative approach, trying to get Armstrong comfortable and trying to run the football. As the game goes on and they get more confidence, you'll see them use the matchup with him because he can beat you down the field.
Out of Archbishop Rummel High School, the highly thought of program in Louisiana. 3rd down, 3. Armstrong showing the legs for the first time, and he's into Bruin real estate. 1st down for Nebraska. Marcus Rios took him out of bounds, gain of 6.
They could not have game planned this better for Armstrong's confidence. Easy throws, design draw plays, things to get him feeling good about himself. He was so depressed after the regular season. that the first few series of this game had to be about getting him comfortable and getting his confidence back.
He said leading up to this bowl game, treat me like a freshman, reteach me some things to this coaching staff after apologizing to his teammates for that Iowa loss. Well, Tommy Armstrong's decision-making hasn't been in question so far tonight. Nebraska and UCLA each got on the board on its opening drive, and at the Foster Farms Bowl, two big-name programs deadlocked after 15 minutes. Losses by a total of 31 points this year, and a tight one again after 15 minutes as Terrell Newby checks in for the first time as the running back for the Cornhuskers today. And they will run it on the end around with Jordan Westerkamp flagged down as well on the near side, so we'll check the marker after Westerkamp's first touch, the leading receiver.
Jordan Westerkamp into the 45. Penalty marker back in the line of scrimmage. Offside. Defense number 58. 5-yard penalty. Offside.
It's on Deion Hollins, the linebacker. They'll take the penalty. Leading sack man on UCLA's team last year with 9 of them, down to 2.5 this year. Maybe some pressure on him and the other outside linebacker, Aaron Wallace, tonight?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're going to have to be guys who contain Armstrong, so they're thinking about making sure they don't go too far up the field, but also that they don't get trapped inside.
Counter action for the Cornhuskers, and across the 40, Ozigbo back in. He gets 5. Looks like the spot will have him with a first down at the 39.
This is a good sign for Nebraska. I mean, there's nothing fancy going on right now. They are just lining up and slamming right into UCLA.
Bunch of seniors on that offensive line, including the center Reeves, the right guard Stirrup, the left tackle, all Big Ten player Alex Lewis.
2 tight end set. They are just loading up the beef.
Armstrong this time got a nice kick out on the edge by Carter, and a gain of 3, second down.
A nice little changeup by Nebraska. The first 2 series, they ran the tailback, and now they've switched up a little bit, running a little bit more of Armstrong, keeping UCLA guessing, but still, it's all on the ground.
Mike Riley in his first year as the head coach of the Huskers. Danny Langsdorff, his offensive coordinator, the former Giants quarterback coach in the NFL. Armstrong off play action. Nice diving grab at the 20-yard line by Westerkamp. First down.
Confidence. It was those early plays, the early throws that allowed this one to happen. Rolls to his left, and he's got a strong arm, man. I tell you, that's a beautiful throw.
Slightly off his back foot, too, giving a little ground.
But he's strong enough to do that, and that's his thing. But he's better at that rolling. When he's in the pocket and he's off his back foot, that's when he has a problem. But when he's rolling out and does that, he delivers it on the money.
26th straight game with a catch for Westerkamp, the junior. Armstrong on the move again. Hit as he throws and incomplete. Aaron Wallace providing the pressure for the Bruins, second down.
But that's not what UCLA wants. They don't want Armstrong outside like that. They don't want Wallace or Hollins chasing him. They want him contained in between the hash where they can get to him and make him stay inside and be a pocket passer.
How about at the 12:51 mark of the second quarter, Tommy Armstrong's first incompletion tonight.
Wow. Nebraska fans have to love that.
Newby back in as the tailback. Tough snap to handle. Armstrong lost the football. Turnovers have been a major issue for the Cornhuskers, and Wadu plucks it for the Bruins.
Well, Jason, if you watch the end of the play, you'll see that Armstrong had the ball in his left hand in traffic, was carrying it pretty loosely down low. He'll switch it from the right to the left. Now watch the end here. Face mask, they get a loose, oh, it gets poked out. It was in his right hand, not his left hand, but there was a face mask that was not called in there.
Nebraska fans are jeering here. Kenny Clark looked like he was the one that.
Yeah. That's right in front of you. Wow.
27th turnover for the Huskers this year. And the Bruins take over with Perkins, the dynamic running back across the 15. Here's another look at it.
Yeah, you know, I say take it back. I don't think you can fault Armstrong here for what happens here. That's egregious. He's not letting go of that. He grips that and pulls it, turns his whole head. That's got to be called.
And that allowed Kenny Young to punch it out.
That's got to be called.
Showing the run game and not a lot there. Kevin Maurice, the junior out of Orlando's Freedom High School on Perkins. 3rd down. Armstrong almost doing the mime there of his neck being turned.
He's right.
What do you say to him on the sideline there?
Well, you'd say, okay, fine, yeah, we get that, but you got to hang on to the football. Cover it up, protect it. You're in traffic.
UCLA 1 for 3 on 3rd down tonight. Rosen, the freshman, over the middle with a bullet. 1st down and then some across the 35 to Jordan Payton, who came in with 75 catches. The senior has a 22-yard gain.
Well, if you're going to be in press coverage on Payton, you need to get your hands on him. If you're up there, get your hands on him. He doesn't. Payton goes right inside of him. And Payton is a savvy senior who knows how to work cornerbacks, and that's a younger DB he's working against.
Rosen again. Time to throw down the field. Drops it in beautifully. Touchdown. Kenny Walker, the deep threat, got behind the secondary.
Jason, that is just pure speed. Walker simply ran completely by Chris Jones, and Jones had a 7-8 yard cushion backpedaling. There was nothing tricky, funny about it. He just ran by him. And how about this throw? When he's in the pocket, he's clean, he is dangerous. Look at that ball.
I mean, this is an NFL stadium. That's an NFL deep pass, don't you think?
Look, I've said it all week. If he were coming out this year, he'd be the guy. He'd be the top quarterback.
Top, huh?
I think so. When you talk about delivering the ball from the pocket, nobody does it better. The other stuff, he's still got to learn. But delivering from the pocket, he's as good as anybody.
Flag on the extra point as Rosen celebrates the longest pass play of the season.
Defense number 8. Penalty is declined. Point is good.
You know, you can quibble with Rosen about some of the things he can't do, can't run around like some other guys, but what he delivers with the football down the field like this, oh man, is that special. That's NFL special. Love it.
To the in a pen and bowl, the D's were missing in Shreveport.
Nice. I like that. I saw what you did there.
I've been working on that for at least days. Stanley Morgan back to receive the kick from UCLA's Fairbairn. 8-4 Bruins, challengers in the Pac-12 South. Nebraska out of the Big Ten. And a touchback coming for the Huskers. Deep ball from Josh Rosen.
Yeah, this is quarters coverage. This is a base thing they do. So you have a deep quarter, but when your man goes deep, now it becomes man-to-man coverage. Watch what happens here. The whole field opens up because you're threatened here. Now you've got all this open here. And that is a quarters coverage beater. They simply run a deep route, post on it. I didn't think Nebraska would play this coverage against UCLA because of the speed issue and because of that play. You cannot allow your corners who can't run with those receivers go man-to-man at some point, and that's what quarters coverage becomes.
I think they might not play that anymore the rest of the night.
Well,
we shall see. Nebraska goes back to the run game. Imani Cross, who had the touchdown earlier. Nebraska's done a nice job second down and manageable for Armstrong so far tonight.
Yeah, they really have, but, still, I look out there and you see a 2nd down and 6. That's good for Nebraska. I mean, UCLA doesn't want that. They can't take them out of what they're doing. You know, the turnovers you see, Armstrong has 8 interceptions in the last 9 quarters.
They had that 5 turnover game in the loss to Purdue, a damaging loss for Nebraska, nearly kept him out of a bowl. Armstrong goes sideline, dropped it in. Riley couldn't hang on. Got his hands on it. 3rd down.
Can't throw it any better than that. You cannot throw it any better than that. Again, Armstrong's confidence has got to be high. Riley kind of short arms that a little bit. Just keep running. Don't lay out. Keep running right into it. He just keeps going with the ball. He'd have it.
So you're saying you hurt yourself by...
Yeah, just keep running. You keep running, he'll catch that thing. He lays out a little bit there. Just keep running, he'll catch it in stride.
Instead of a big hit, Nebraska back to 3rd down. Perfect tonight for the Huskers. Play action, screen. Newby, nice grab, and he is wrangled at the 30. Nothing there. 4th down coming up.
Great job by Clark. Put on enough pressure to make this an inaccurate throw. It was so inaccurate that Newby had to jump high for it, and that just disrupted the timing on it completely.
Isaako Sava Inaya with the stop for UCLA. And 4th down, we will see Sam Foltz, the junior out of Greeley, Nebraska, who led the Big Ten in punting average this year. He'll go to Devin Fuller. Dangerous return man for UCLA. And out of bounds it goes. UCLA out of the Pac-12, Nebraska out of the Big Ten, and UCLA the big plays early behind the freshman Josh Rosen. Short time. The NFL playoffs leading up to Levi's Stadium, and UCLA gets it back off a punt from Nebraska and Foltz. Josh Rosen with the screen to the freshman Soso Jamabo, showing the explosiveness. And UCLA with another gash play. The team that led the Pac-12 in yards per play does it again. 1st down, Bruins. Jamabo injured.
Well, that depleted offensive line did a great job getting out in front with great blocks. And there you see it looks like that was Jamabo hobbling off the field.
One of the top players in last year's class, and a quick set there from Rosen to Andrews. Here's a look at what happened to Jamabo.
And you see that he gets both of his ankles caught underneath. He immediately sort of reaches for one.
There's a nickelback, Aaron Williams, on the tackle. Late mesh there, and nicely done. Rosen and Starks across the 30-yard line, just short of the 25. 3rd down coming up, gain of 11.
You know, before this drive started, we were talking about off air that this is a critical time for Nebraska. Given the turnover and then the long touchdown pass, they're at a desperate point here. They need a stop or they could be in real trouble in this ballgame.
Nebraska going in to take that lead before the turnover by Armstrong. Play clock still with 10 to go. Rosen waiting for Starks to clear, and he's got him. Starks is gone.
Well, credit Josh Rosen for that one. He made that play happen. Yes, Starks got the touchdown, but the way that Rosen waited for him, the patience, the maturity, look at he's waiting, allows him to clear the end and the linebacker and gets him some room and delivers it on time, accurately. That was beautiful, wasn't it?
How about it? That's 2 NFL throws for touchdowns.
I'm telling you, that kid is something.
How about 10 for 12 for $180 and 2 touchdowns?
Well, you know, the other thing, too, about him is he was a tennis player as a kid. He was primarily a tennis player, but I think he's picked up on this quarterback thing pretty well.
We'll check the flag when we come back. Rosen to Starks. UCLA back on the board in Santa Clara. 447 for Fairbairn, who hit a 60-yarder earlier this year against Cal, longest field goal in Pac-12 history, and the Groza Award winner this season in college football. Nice weapon to have for Jim Mora.
Yeah. You got a kicker who wins the Groza Award. Pretty cool.
And you see the leg in action again. Morgan no chance to return. And the Huskers will have it from the 25, under 8 to play in this first half. And you see Paul Thurston, the new center for Nebraska, Ryan Reeves, who makes a lot of their calls on the offensive line, is out. Thurston is in. And so for the senior out of Nebraska, Ryan Reeves, 40 minutes southwest of Lincoln would be a tough way to finish his Nebraska career.
It's unfortunate. His backup now will have to deal with snaps under center and also shotgun.
Seen Ozigbo a lot tonight, the freshman for the Cornhuskers, and he gets 7 on first down.
I've been meaning to ask you,
yes,
how do you feel about 5-7 Nebraska being in the team? We had some fans in our hotel, and they seemed a little bit nervous at the prospect that Nebraska could finish the season 5-8.
Well, you know, part of it's Nebraska hadn't had an 8-loss season in nearly 70 years. They don't want to have that 8th loss, but there are 3 teams that are 5-7 thanks to the APR in college football bowl games this year. Armstrong, wide open man, Westerkamp. His second grab goes for a first down, and a late shove draws a marker.
Mr. Clutch, when Nebraska needs a play, he tends to do it. You see the late hit on the sideline there.
Personal foul, number 2, defense. That's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's on Wadu. It goes for 43, 28 in the penalty.
Yeah, you know, and officials are really, really protective of players along the sidelines. There's so many things that can happen, so much equipment over there. So he'd given himself up. You see that at the end there. Wadu was trying to hold up, but not enough.
That was the universal sign for I didn't mean to.
Yeah, I didn't really mean to, but you did anyway.
And a flag comes in after that previous flag.
Yeah. And there's so much on the sideline. There are people, there are yard markers, there's equipment.
There's no foul for breaking the huddle. Number 4 of the offense called timeout prior to the flag. Timeout, Nebraska.
With the timeout before the substitution penalty against the Cornhuskers. Under 7 to play first half. 21-7 UCLA in the Foster Farms Bowl. 18 touchdowns. You'll see him at the back end of that triple header on Tuesday. Jet sweep for Nebraska. We've seen it a couple times tonight. And this one for Jamal Turner takes him inside the 5-yard line. Gain of 23.
How about Turner running through would-be tacklers for UCLA? They actually had this kind of hemmed in, but UCLA couldn't wrap up. I mean, a lot of lazy effort, not bringing your feet, reaching out. Watch the way the UCLA players are just reaching with their arms and not bringing their feet. Head down, eyes closed. Come on, you can't tackle that way.
How about Turner, the former dual threat quarterback in high school, showing the wheels. Newby in as the tailback, first and goal, Nebraska. Here he is, in for the touchdown.
That is a strong, strong answer by Nebraska.
Sixth touchdown of the year for Newby, who came in as the leading rusher.
Just the left side of the line. They did a great job again of pushing back that smaller UCLA defense. You saw 12 Brown could not get in there. McKinley, 98, pushed off the ball.
But Terrell Newby, a young man from Los Angeles and Chaminade High School, scores against his hometown Bruins. up the road a piece in Santa Clara. They did it in $1:32.
Yeah, we were talking about this 5-7 team, and you mentioned your thoughts. I personally not a fan of a 5-7 team, but the more I thought about it and looked at things, I'm like, it's not a big deal. I mean, we've seen it before. It's prevalent in professional sports. And you look at the NBA. We've had 12 teams with losing records make the playoffs since 2000. The NFL, how about the Carolina Panthers last year? Seattle Seahawks back in 2010. 3 NHL teams. We've seen this over and over. So I'm sort of like, it's not that big a deal. I mean, it happens in sports. I mean, it's not going to happen all the time, but it does happen. So move on. Don't worry about it.
The uproar because it's new?
Yeah, well, maybe. People don't like change.
Just because people are cranky?
Yeah, I mean, it happens. It's part of sports, We've seen it before. It's not the first time. I mean, I reacted that way. I was like, hey, 5-7, come on. I thought, well, wait a minute. We're not saying let's get rid of the NFL playoff system because they had losing teams in the playoffs. So why are we talking about it for college football?
It's not as though somebody was excluded either. I mean, there's a need for a team.
How could you be excluded?
That's right.
We got 40.
Roosevelt Davis across the 25. To the 29. That's where the Bruins will start.
Seriously, if you're complaining about being the 81st team that didn't get in, isn't that a little bit like, complaining you didn't make it to March Madness?
That's right. That's right. Not the sturdiest ground to stand on as team number 81. But what a night for Josh Rosen this evening already for UCLA. I mean, talking about wanting more from the season. The Bruins certainly are in that category, 7th as of September 28th. They won their first 4, fell on hard times, lost to USC with a chance to win the Pac-12 South. The offense has shown up tonight. Rosen regathers and throws a dart to save the day. They're going to lose yards, but it could have been a lot worse.
You saw some poise there, but, I've talked all night about how poised Rosen is in the pocket. He was poised on that last play when he handled that errant snap, but he's a pocket guy. He is so good in the pocket. It's when you move him that you have your best chance of affecting him.
They'll go with Perkins to the outside. A nimble run across the 30. 3rd down, Josh Banderas, who missed 4 games early this year, back in after the groin injury. 3rd down.
So 3rd down, they're going to throw. You've got to move Rosen. You can't let him sit in the pocket. He's deadly. But if you pressure him, you better play zone behind it because you can't run with their receivers in the slot.
Showing pressure with Young, the freshman linebacker. A lot of open space in the middle of the field.
Now the corners are showing press coverage. It's the slot guys that are going to be an issue for Nebraska here.
Andrews in motion out of the slot. Rosen down the middle. Duarte can't break the tackles for the first down. Nebraska holds the line. And 4th down, Michael Rose-Ivy along with Aaron Williams, the nickel back on the stop. You got a punt here, Ron?
Yeah. And that's a good tackle by Nebraska. They went and handled the slot guy, Duarte, who just pulled up right in front of the first down, thinking he could break the tackle. But that's a really good job by Nebraska to get the ball back. They've answered very well.
You said it was danger time just a couple of minutes ago. And the Huskers will have possession just outside of the 30-yard line for a Nebraska team that's lost 4 of its last 5 bowl games, trying to get back on the board this year. And we take a look at the latest dish, brought to you by, as you might expect.
I mean, that game might be 50-49
yeah.
For different reasons.
Nebraska continues to pound the ball on the ground. Imani Cross on the 22nd rush of the night for the Huskers to just 8 passes.
Which of those games caught your attention?
North Carolina Baylor should be interesting. Carolina's defense better this year.
I'm just a little concerned that Baylor has had so many injuries. No Coleman in there. They're 3 deep in quarterback now. That's my only concern about that one.
Triple header coming up on Tuesday. Capital One Bowl Mania rolls along. Play action for Armstrong. Clean pocket. He's got his tight end, Cethan Carter, across the 45. First down, Nebraska.
Yeah, that's the thing we talked about back in the first quarter, that they could pound the ball, run the ball, and then get Carter down the field. That's exactly what they did. And he runs He's to the left. You see him, he's a tight end there. He just runs right by the linebacker. Nobody touches him. He's got a lot of space to work with. That's not a good thing for UCLA. You got to get somebody on him and hit him at the line of scrimmage and not give him a free release.
First man in there, Johnson couldn't take him down. The size from Carter. Straight up the middle, they go with the fullback, Janovich, and he's got a first down, showing some wheels, gain of 14. What a lane to run through.
I tell you, this size disadvantage, they just crushed the UCLA front. I mean, they just down blocked them to the middle of the field that time. It's amazing. Now, it's a quick team, but not a big team.
Huskers get to the line quickly. Ozigbo has checked in. And there UCLA's D-line wins the battle, just a gain of 2 as Wallace got in on the stop. Second down.
You get the sense that maybe 10 minutes ago UCLA felt like they had this game in control.
Seemed like it.
And now all of a sudden Nebraska, they just keep pounding away, and they're back in this thing.
You think late in the game Nebraska's got the edge because of it?
I'd be concerned as a UCLA fan or player if you're thinking, hey, they might beat up on you. They got 116 yards rushing already.
And a flag on a hitch off the snap.
False start. Offense, number 71. It's a 5-yard penalty. Second down.
The transfer from Colorado, Alex Lewis, on the left side of the line, the tackle. Mentioned Nebraska has struggled with penalties this year, both teams. 88 penalties this season for the Huskers. They're 108th in the country in penalty yards a game, just 3 today.
Yeah, they're averaging more than 7 a game, and between turnovers and penalties, they've hurt themselves this year.
And the turnover driving into UCLA territory earlier in this game. Armstrong around the edge, darting up the middle inside the 10.
Wow, Armstrong has run more in this ball game than we've seen all season. Just his zone read, and they've been giving it inside. Now watch the hole as he gets out behind the fullback. He just goes to the edge. And UCLA struggling to get off blocks. I mean, this is a physical domination by the Nebraska offensive line so far.
You can see body language-wise the confidence building for Armstrong. Run it with Cross outside, and Imani Cross dumped inside the 3 to the 2.5. Gain of 7. Took Randall Goforth to chuck him out of bounds. 2nd and goal.
You know, we didn't mention Mike Rozier when we talked about great Nebraska running backs. He's got to be loving this, along with Rathman and Roger Craig. And I just wanted to say I am hip again. This is old school Nebraska. Mike Rowley has gone back and pulled out some plays from back in the day.
See Armstrong running, you get the feeling that Eric Crouch might be around. 3 in the backfield. Carter in motion. Cross leaning, and he's at the 1-yard line. Well, at the very least, looks like Nebraska's going to play keep away from UCLA depending on the timeout situation, and now the Bruins do use their 2nd of the half.
Yeah, good call.
UCLA.
Good catch there. That if you're UCLA, you're thinking you don't need an awful lot of time to get some points.
Step aside, key moment for Nebraska, and it's 52nd bowl game all time. 3rd and goal.
Halftime report. Guys, back to you.
John, thank you. Maybe the birth of Beamer Ball, that Independence Bowl site in Shreveport. We'll hear from John Saunders coming up shortly. 3rd and goal for Nebraska. Straight up the middle and touchdown. Janovich. In for Nebraska.
Five and 7, huh? That 5 and 7 team didn't quit when they were down by 14 points.
Could have easily been 10 and 2. Bunch of close losses for the Huskers. Mike Riley certainly not going to decline being one of those 5 and 7 teams in a bowl game. And we're tied.
Michigan State would say 9 and 3. They felt like they got robbed.
Contact out of bounds question and reestablish. Maybe you're to Iowa and the All-State Sugar Bowl, Oklahoma State, Ole Miss, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield. Who you got?
I don't know.
The lights are on.
That's good. That's a good one. I got to stay with Clemson. They're not getting any respect at all. I felt like you're the number 1 team and you're an underdog.
And a loss.
And how about Michigan State? You got a national publication that can't even get the name of the head coach right. I mean, if you want fodder to get your team ready, the national media has given it to Clemson and given it to Michigan State.
All we hear about is how Dabo Swinney can't eat pizza right.
Right, yeah.
UCLA's had a couple chances on returns, and we've seen Roosevelt Davis. This time he is bottled up inside the 20, and the Bruins with 1 timeout and 44 seconds to play. Do you take a shot here or don't you? We'll see.
Well, yeah. Do you trust him?
If he's in the pocket, you do.
Yeah. I think you've got a timeout. You've got a guy you trust. Let him make some more good decisions. If you don't get anything on the first couple plays, you pack it in, you go in at halftime.
Essentially, you're playing with house money here if you're Jim Mora, right?
Yeah. And I think he really does trust this freshman quarterback.
Rosen got set, threw it low and incomplete for Darren Andrews.
Oh, did he take a hit? Rosen took a shot.
You mentioned Nebraska maybe having some difficulty getting pressure with the defensive line. They did there.
Yeah, they got there this time, and there is a big hit up high. That's Greg McMullen who comes in and makes a big play there. Wow.
So Nebraska has the injury. The pass was incomplete, so because the clock was not running, there's no available 10-second runoff. We're within the window because it's in the final minute of this half. No runoff announced by Ron Cherry.
You'll see the end of the play. Is that 15? Michael
Rose Ivy.
Yeah, Rose Ivy. He grabs his left knee.
Yeah.
He's up now, though, walking off the field. That's a good sign.
This is already a whittled down Nebraska linebacking core. Marcus Newby, the sophomore out of Maryland, unavailable with a groin injury. So Rose Ivy, the junior, thrust into the starting position, and now we'll see how deep Nebraska can go linebacker-wise. Although, as you mentioned, they've played a lot of nickel tonight.
Yeah. Well, and Chris Webber will get some more time on the field. He's played quite a bit for them this season.
Rose Ivy, who started 7 games, a redshirt freshman a couple years ago, comes off. Rosen. They hit with the screen, and my goodness, look out. Nate Gary draws a flag. Remember, he had the targeting penalty in the Iowa game to end the regular season. He bashed Perkins this time.
Personal foul. Targeting. 25. Defense. That play is under further review.
Again, Gary had the targeting penalty against Iowa. We'll take a look at it again, looking for forcible contact to the head or neck area.
I don't like that call. I don't like that call at all. He wraps up with his arms. He doesn't launch. That's what you want to see. I think Gary learned from that Iowa game. You wrap up with your arms like that. He's trying to do what you want a player to do. And it's got to be the forcible contact, not the incidental contact.
Let's bring in Dave Kataya, our college football rules expert. Dave, what do you see on that play?
Well, he is a defenseless player, but watch here now. You got this. He turns the head away. To me, it does not look like a targeting penalty. I don't know if they're going to have enough to change the call on the field, but he turns his head away.
I'm sorry, Dave. When you wrap your arms around a ball carrier, you're trying to tackle him the right way. That's a wrap-up, and I see no problem with that tackle. Well, I really don't.
As you say, it is a wrap-up. He turns his head away. Now the question is there forcible contact with any part of the head or shoulder above the waist of the receiving player.
By definition, he also has to have targeted. I mean, he's trying to turn away. Is there mitigating evidence there?
I think that forcible contact is with the shoulder.
And the only thing replay can review on this is the forcible contact above the shoulders. They can't rule on the thrust or launch or anything like that.
He's got his face up, and he's got his left shoulder that he leads with into the shoulder pads. I don't think you can call that targeting. I mean, and I'm a guy who is really about protecting players in the whole concussion issue, but when you're wrapping up a guy, you're not going after his head.
And you make very valid points there. As I said, he turned his head away. Again, replay cannot look at whether it's a launch or a thrust or anything like that. What they can look at is if there is forcible contact above the shoulder with a helmet, forearm, shoulder, etc. And as I said, it looks like he turns the helmet away to me.
And there's no attached penalty. So if this comes back as no targeting, the penalty will be wiped away. That's important to note in this circumstance. Could be a big first down. You're also going to lose Gary if you're Nebraska. So your final thought, Dave, is no penalty, you think?
Well, you're correct about if they take this off, it's not going to be any penalty because it's not a late hit. And as I said, the only question replay has is to determine whether there's forcible contact above the shoulder. To me, it looks like there's not forcible contact above the shoulder. But again, remember, replay cannot review the launch or the thrust. They can only review that portion.
Thank you, Dave. Appreciate the insight.
Well, look, he turns his head away, as Dave mentioned. He leads with the left shoulder, and he wraps up. I don't know how you
After
teach
review,
a guy.
The ruling on the field of targeting is confirmed. Number 25 is disqualified.
Yeah, I'm with Mike Riley.
UCLA has elected not to use the 10-second runoff.
I don't know how you coach a guy to tackle them. I don't know how you coach a guy to make that play. How do you coach him to make that play?
You want him to move the head completely out of the...
He turns his head away. This is happening in a split second. He turns his head away, leads with the shoulder, and he wraps up. How do you coach him?
So, Nebraska without Gary. Rosen to throw down the sideline, and this is nearly intercepted. It is pulled in. Joshua Kalu gets it back for the Huskers before Gary leaves the field.
Question is, did he get a foot in? Catch, control, left foot's in.
The field is an interception.
I think that's a good call.
The previous play is under review.
Let's bring Dave back in.
Once again, here you have the possession of the ball. You have 1 foot down, the left foot. Now the key is he going to the ground? He does go to the ground, but I don't see any loss of possession. This is going to stand as an interception, in my opinion.
The ball can move while still maintaining possession, correct?
That is correct. He can't use the ground to help for the catch, but he's not doing that here, as you can see.
I think
After
we have
review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It's an interception, first down.
We have a better sense of a catch in college football than they have in the NFL.
And that was a quick one, too.
Yeah.
It was very quick.
All right, I'm going to give them 1 for 2. They got that one right. They missed the targeting, in my view.
That'll put you in Cooperstown.
Oh, okay.
500.
I'm sorry. I just don't know. I don't know how you coach your guys to make tackles if that's targeting. And now Nebraska is without Gary the rest of the game.
And they just had the injury to Rose Ivy, the linebacker. So you lose 2 starters on defense. Kalu gets him the ball back with his 3rd pick. Nebraska 2 timeouts, 23 seconds to shop around with. Armstrong figures why not, and he is chopped down. Knee was down as Kenny Clark got in there with his 6th sack of the year.
Most sacks ever by Kenny Clark. He is primarily a run stopper at 6'3", 308 pounds, but he's had a fantastic season. 2nd team All Pac-12. Probably deserved a little better than that.
Well, how about that last minute? Rod Gilmore Not saying anything about the first
Don't
29.
Get me started.
21-21 our halftime score at the Foster Farms Bowl. Now we go to John Saunders and Mark May, the Coke Zero halftime report. Guys, take it away.
Just 34 yards. I think that's the way to use it. And I think we'll see more of that in the second half.
Cornhuskers were down 14 in this game, and they will get it to open quarter number 3. Stanley Morgan, the freshman, on the return. And across the 20-yard line, Nebraska will have the ball first here in the second half. Let's check in downstairs with Shelley.
I talked to Jim Mora. I said, how do you stop the run? And he jokingly said, get bigger guys. And I said, no, really. He goes, this is where our injuries have hurt. We've got to get lower. We've got to tackle better. We can do this. And he has all the confidence in the world in Josh Rosen. He goes, isn't he fun to watch? Don't you just want to watch him all afternoon? He said, yes, we've got confidence in him. If we get the ball, we're going to start throwing it a lot more.
Shelley, thank you. This from the guy who, when he took over the job, he said we could decide to punt and wait till 2013 to recruit. He went after it in 2012, so he might get bigger guys in the future.
Well, he's not going to get them in the second half.
That's right.
That won't happen. You know, typically what you do is you start moving your front. You know, you angle your guys, you bring more pressure, you bring more run blitzes. You know, but that can hurt you too.
Kenny Clark did have 1 sack late in the first half of Armstrong. Pressure in his face this time, and there's a bullet across the 30 and a first down to Stanley Morgan, the freshman out of New Orleans, on a gain of 9.
Armstrong really playing with confidence. You know, I think he will work on his fundamentals in the offseason. He wants to go back and break everything down, his drops, his footwork. There's a UCLA player down on the field. It looks like that's Johnson. That's number 7. I think that's John Johnson down there.
Redshirt sophomore defensive back.
He's been having a really nice ball game. He had, I think, 5 tackles in the first half, 4 or 5 tackles.
Yeah, total of 4 in that first half out of Fresno's Central High School. You're talking about Tommy Armstrong. Came in a couple of years ago, 7-1 as a starter. Seemed like the confidence was up, struggled at points this season. How difficult, though, you mentioned going back to the drawing board and resetting some of those tendencies. How tough is that to do for somebody who's played the game for so long?
Well, it's hard for most guys, but I think he's had an issue there for a while. I don't know that his fundamentals have ever been that sound. He's got such a strong arm. You know, he throws off his back foot a lot. He throws backpedaling away from things. And I think those are things that you can work on. And it's good to see Johnson getting up. He looks like it's an upper body thing, the way he's holding himself. Go back to the play here.
I got contorted oddly.
Yeah, at the end of that, look, he kind of grabs his left arm or left wrist at the very end of the play. Yeah, they're holding his right side, but looks like he's leaning towards the left there.
So Johnson off. First down, Nebraska on the completion from Armstrong. And the Huskers continue to plow away with Imani Cross. You look at the first half numbers, 29 runs, 9 passes for Nebraska.
Yeah, well, and that'll continue. You heard Shelley talk about her interview with Mora, and Mora said we need to get bigger. Well, they're facing an offensive line that is about 300 pounds across the board, give or take a couple of biscuits. And they're facing, you know, defensive linemen. You got a guy 250 pounds in there, 220-pound linebacker.
They may take the biscuits if given the option. Armstrong, boy, he's had creases to run through all night long. They've picked their spots on the quarterback design runs. First down.
Yeah, there's no secret. There's nothing fancy about it.
And you talk about UCLA's run defense, 88th in the FBS, already given up 161.
They're going to see a lot more rushes.
What do you do?
Well, yeah, as I said, I mean, they're not going to grow. I mean, you can slant your guys, you can bring some pressure, you can bring some run blitzes, but those things have issues as well.
Janovich, the fullback, plowing into UCLA territory. on a gain of 6 on first down.
So let's say UCLA commits another guy to stop the run. They go 8 guys in, and they're bringing pressure. Well, now you've opened up everything on the outside, plus you've got a running quarterback who will give you a numbers advantage. They can block all your guys, and you've got a quarterback who can run free. That's the problem. That's the dilemma they have right now.
Longtime defensive coordinator at Penn State. He had some big guys there. Tom Bradley trying to figure out what he can do against very physical Nebraska. Ozigbo, the freshman, shaking tacklers. He discarded Goforth and went inside the 40, first down.
Yeah, the other thing this does is it keeps UCLA's offense off the field, shortens the game. Here it is. I mean, you see number 98, Terrence McKinley, come in at 250 pounds. He's handled by the fullback.
McKinley even said a bunch of weeks ago after the injuries to Vanderdoes and Miles Jack, our run defense was horrible. They had gotten better as the year went on. Riley off the extra feed coming the other way for Alonzo Moore and inside the 30. That's Jayon Brown, by the way, that's down for UCLA.
A little trickeration here. And how about Armstrong getting involved to throw a key block to open up a little bit of a path for Moore?
Tells you a little something about the junior quarterback for Nebraska.
Yeah, well, he's no small fry either. He's 220 pounds, 6'1", compact, very strong.
Building a nice meal there. Biscuits and fries already on the drive. Up the gut, and down goes Imani Cross. Tried to get back up. He's inside the 25. Brown still down for UCLA, the junior out of Long Beach.
Well, again, Brown is one of the linebackers who stepped in. You see him, that left ankle. And again, he's a key guy. He's not the biggest linebacker, but he's quick and active.
It's the opening drive of the third quarter for Nebraska. 13th meeting between Nebraska and UCLA. Armstrong for the end zone. What a grab. My goodness, Stanley Morgan. Wow.
Wow. That's going to make somebody's highlight reel or somebody's top 10, maybe ours. We talked about single coverage when you load up to stop the run against Adams out there, fins him off with the right hand and then stabs it with the left. Look at this. Right hand keeps Adams away, and there's the left one. Pretty.
Hashtag SC top 10. Extra point is no good. So Drew Brown off the mark. Stanley Morgan's only visit was to Nebraska when he was being recruited, and the fans in Lincoln are rather pleased about that. Morgan, the freshman out of New Orleans, gives the Huskers the lead beautifully. For the night, and that's good news for the fans in Nebraska. Stanley Morgan with the touchdown, and UCLA will get it back off a touchback. Take us through Armstrong to Morgan.
Well, you mentioned 9 of 11 for Armstrong. He's making great decisions and great throws. Look at what he sees here. He's got a single coverage matchup, a safety out of the way, and what's he do? He takes full advantage of it, and he puts the football only where his guy, Stanley Morgan Jr., can get it. Drops it in the bucket, far corner, and what a great one-handed grab by that man.
Second catch of the night for Morgan. Armstrong 65% in their wins, 48% in their losses. Good news so far for Nebraska tonight in the Foster Farms Bowl 2015. And back to the steering wheel for Josh Rosen, the freshman, on the handoff for Starks. Nowhere to go. Bulldog down at the 20-yard line by Greg McMullen. Second down.
Well, Shelley told you at half that Jim Morris said they would throw more, and if they do, you got to keep him in the pocket. I mean, Rosen is great in the pocket. Look what he's done tonight. On the flip side, the game plan for Nebraska is to get after him and push him off his spot, to make him move out of the pocket.
Perkins in motion, second down and long. He hits Starks out of the backfield. And he gets the lost yardage back and not much more. Rose Ivy in pursuit. 3rd and long for Rosen and UCLA. You talked about his tennis background. How do you think it affects him as a quarterback in college football?
I think it's his base. You know, he said he thinks tennis players are better athletes than football players. We'll talk about his tennis in a second here.
3rd down.
A guy who was a great juniors tennis player.
Hurt his shoulder, decided to take up football. Rose Ivy backs off from the shown blitz. Rosen, they've got him out of the pocket this time. 1 pat of the football and 2 short, looking for Jordan Payton. There you have it.
There you go. Out of the pocket, not as good. You know, you could see a little bit of his tennis background in his drop. And when he drops back, he holds that ball, you know, high, and he gets it back and releases it quickly, much like a tennis player. You know, get that racket back in a hurry and, you know, be on balance and swing through. He's really good with all that.
UCLA's first possession stalls, and Mangle just clears it to Westerkamp, who barely made a legal fair catch signal that time at the 30-yard line. Tommy Armstrong took his team down the field for a touchdown last time. What will he do this time? Find out with it. Hang on with Nebraska leading, and a very efficient Tommy Armstrong in possession of the ball. That's the freshman Ozigbo across the 40-yard line and a 1st down. Nebraska continues to churn on the ground with 11 that time.
Hey, Jason, just take a look at the edge here. Watch Cotton 84 block on number 51 Wallace. Hey, that's a great job. I mean, he handles him. That allows the running game to get to the outside. I mean, it's not just the linemen. The tight ends are doing their job as well.
Significant amount of multiple tight end sets tonight for Nebraska. Armstrong, 11 pass attempts. This time he will run, and again through a sizable crease. Got a block from Morgan, and he's across the 40-yard line. 1st down, Armstrong.
It is hard for UCLA to figure out what's coming this time. I mean, you get the edge, you get the cross blocks inside, and the quarterback run. Tom Bradley, the defensive coordinator of UCLA, could certainly use those 3 guys that got injured this year. Miles Jack, Andy Vanderdoes, Fabian Moreau.
A couple of levels hurt by those injuries. Ozigbo got away from Clark and duped himself to the ground. 2nd down coming up. That was Denzel Fisher, who was close enough, nearly 6 per carry tonight, Rod.
Yeah, you know, at this rate, they won't have to throw it. They're doing a good job of using Armstrong's arm sparingly. I mean, he's confident now. They're giving him the throws they want to give him. I mean, if he doesn't throw it 25 times in this ballgame, that's exactly what Mike Riley wants. Keep it under that number and run it the rest of the time.
See how Tom Bradley counters the defensive coordinator for UCLA. We've seen Janovich quite a bit tonight. Very spry fullback. Janovich has the 1st down. Again, we saw a scrum like that lead to a turnover earlier. Nebraska only 1 turnover tonight.
Yeah, well, and you got another UCLA player going off the field. I think that was McKinley.
Yeah, Zach McKinley.
Yeah, he got blocked to the ground and had trouble getting up. I mean, right now, this is becoming bad for UCLA. I mean, physically, they're really getting beat up out there.
You said it earlier. The size advantage clearly in Nebraska's favor. That's part of it, right?
Yeah, and they're losing guys now.
Yeah. Ozigbo taken down. Nicely done by Wadu, the safety, the sophomore, to come up and close that deal.
Now, those 2 safeties for UCLA have been saving the day. Wadu and Go For It. They're really good tacklers. They're not the biggest guys, but they are aggressive, and they don't miss tackles typically.
Started all but 1 game as a sophomore, Wadu, and Go Forth, who was injured for part of last year. 5th on the team in tackles. Loss of 2, 2nd and long. Lots of time and a rare drop for Westerkamp. That could have gone for a while.
Wow, that guy is on the verge of breaking Johnny Rogers' record. reception yards. And he's been Mr. Clutch for Nebraska, and he just loses this one.
He needs 24 yards to add to his 44 tonight to break that record. It's quite a name to be involved with. Armstrong, line drive right there on target at the 13-yard line. Alonzo Moore with the catch and a first down, Nebraska.
I tell you, Armstrong's confidence through the roof. He was not making these throws against Iowa.
And a flag comes in. Nebraska tried to go tempo.
False start. Offense, number 57. It's a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, this throw he makes here shows you how confident he is. He just throws a bullet here. Think about what he's been through the last month. He had a lot of people talking about he's just not good, he's hurting the team, and all the Nebraska players and coaches just hugged him up and said, "You're going to be all right." And then they handled him the correct way in the first half, and he's playing with a lot of confidence right now.
10 out of 13 tonight for Armstrong, the junior. Counter action to the outside. Ozigbo, he belted Rios, created the contact, second and short.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised the way Nebraska is handling UCLA? I mean, even Clark couldn't get off a block that time to get outside, but he can't do everything. I mean, he can't police the inside and the outside.
Nebraska's run for 248 yards already tonight. Janovich plunging forward, and he yanked back at the 2.5-yard line. There's Aaron Wallace battling with Janovich, and he's about half a yard short.
And Nebraska has not been a great rushing team this season. They did run for 179 against Michigan State. But other than that, against good teams, they really didn't run it that well. Well, they were committed to running it tonight against UCLA, and you see that defense has been worked over. 3rd and 1.
Newby's checked in as the tailback. Moore in motion. Armstrong throws for Westerkamp and incomplete, overthrown. Now Nebraska has a choice to make.
That was a good stop. Now, what I don't like here, I think they have to kick it, because if you were going to run it on 4th down or go for it on 4th down, you needed to have run that ball on 3rd down. And given the way they've been running the football, I'm surprised they went with the run-pass option there. I mean, I thought they would have just pounded it again.
So Drew Brown left of the field goal try after just the 14th pass attempt all night for the Huskers, compared to 43 runs. Brown's made 10 straight and make it 11. Nebraska leads by 9. Tommy Armstrong wanted to punch it in on 4th down. Disagreement from the sideline. The lead is not the NF. Big Ten trying to stay unbeaten. Pac-12, I should say, trying to stay unbeaten in bowl season. 5 and 7 teams as well trying to stay unbeaten, with Nebraska. A nice coverage on Roosevelt Davis, who did not reach the 20-yard line. Well, UCLA has not seen the ball very much here in the quarter. For 1:15, the Bruins have had it. That was part of the key. Keep away from Josh Rosen.
Part of the game plan, and has rushed. It has worked, and Rosen has not been good lately. 4 of 7 for 4 yards passing. That's since the last touchdown. But I think you stay with Rosen. You keep going back and let him throw it. They haven't had it much yet.
Flags come in from both angles, front and back, and maybe a false start coming.
False start. Offense, number 72. It's a 5-yard penalty. First down.
That's usually a reserve guard, Christian Garcia. UCLA banged up and also losing a player, Alex Redmond, to the draft on the offensive line.
Alex Redmond signed with an agent and forfeited his right to be a part of the team and play in this bowl game.
They will run it after the penalty. I haven't seen a whole lot from Paul Perkins, one of the leading rushers in UCLA history at second down.
Well, you mentioned the draft, and Perkins is one of those guys who is thinking about whether he should come back or go to the draft this year, join the NFL. There are a number of UCLA players weighing that decision.
Certainly got family that's done it. His uncle Don, a former Pro Bowler with the Cowboys. His dad, Bruce, an NFL fullback for a couple years. Paul Perkins.
That's the guy right there in that slot. Duarte, 18. He's the matchup issue.
Rosen looking that way. And he was hustled to throw it. Third down, more pressure from the Huskers.
Yeah, it was Collins that time that got in there. And when you can pressure him, it's a problem. And you talk about the draft-eligible players for UCLA. Miles Jack, he's a first-rounder. You can put that one in there. You know, we know Kenny Clark says he's got a draft grade of second round. The rest of them, it's unclear yet. But think about what happens to UCLA if all those guys leave. Especially,
look at the offensive line. Beninock may go, McDermott as well. And Perkins, too, a possibility. Third down and 14. Run the screen. Perkins cannot shake free. Byerson Cockrell and Dedrick Young, the senior and freshman, together on the stop, forcing another punt.
So, Jason, what's happened here the last 3 series or so that UCLA has had the football, Nebraska's turned up the heat on first down, which has put UCLA in second and long and whatnot, and that's been a problem for them. And they've been able to keep pressure on Rosen and knock him off his spot.
Mark Banker, the defensive coordinator, formerly of the Chargers, dialing up the pressure. Westerkamp gets free. And UCLA recovers well enough. 6-yard return could have been a lot more, and a little post-play stuff going on back at the 45-yard line. We've already had a targeting call, and now we've got Husker players being held back. That's Kieran Williams on special teams for Nebraska. No flag has come in. These teams played, it was just a couple years ago, 2012, 2013, a home and home.
Well, Mike Riley's not happy with this crew. I mean, he's lost a player to a bad targeting call, in my opinion.
Safety Nate Gary.
Yeah, and then he looks out there and he sees one of his guys having the business done to him at the end of a tackle, and he's like, why aren't you calling that? He's not happy.
Ron Cherry and his crew. You say somebody was getting the business? First down for Nebraska. The run game has been the muscle for the Huskers. Zigbo reaches UCLA territory. Second down. Take a look at what began all of the action after the punt to Westerkamp.
Yeah, take a look around the 45-yard line. You see a tackle there, a couple players involved, rolling around on the ground. They continue. And this is what has Mike Riley upset. A player is on top of his player right there down at the bottom, working on him.
Not a whole lot of mystery for Nebraska right now. They go with Newby this time. And he hits the 35-yard line. First down for Terrell Newby, the junior out of Los Angeles. Wadu, the safety, took him down all the way downfield. The marker has come in as well.
You know, you can't tackle if you don't get off blocks. Watch here, watch here. Get off blocks. Look at the blocking. Right there, there's number
Offside.
12 involved with it, Brown. He can't get off blocks.
The penalty is declined.
They're so big, engulfing guys. Guys can't get off blocks.
So as a smaller player, what's your best bet there?
Use your quickness. You can't be the second guy punch. You have to beat them to the punch.
That was an offside flag against UCLA. Nebraska declines it and embarks from the 34. Riley on the end around. And Riley finds his way inside the 25. Everything is finding a seam for the Huskers. This one for 13. And they build on 6.2 a carry.
We talked about the danger zone, and watch receivers making blocks down here, but UCLA danger zone for them now. Should Nebraska get a score down here, it ratchets up the pressure on Josh Rosen to make something happen right away.
Would still be a 2-score game, very likely. But UCLA hasn't put the ball in here in the second half, has barely seen the football. It's a short gain for Imani Cross, the bigger back out of Gainesville in Georgia. This UCLA team, again, they lose that game against USC. Could have maybe been in a bigger bowl. What do you think their mindset is on that sideline right now? Is that creeping in at all?
I don't think so. I don't think they're thinking about the USC game. This game's gotten a little chippy.
Yeah.
So I think they're kind of dialed in here on this, but I think they're a little frustrated that they can't get a stop and they haven't had the ball. When you don't have the ball, it frustrates everybody. The defense wants the offense to score. The offense wants to get on the field. You know, it kind of snowballs.
Armstrong gets it out quickly again. And Brandon Riley, the junior out of Lincoln in Southwest High School, has a first down, 1st and goal coming for Nebraska. Again, they're picking their spots beautifully.
Great timing route. Riley's really come on this year to really help out this team that lost to Mornay Pearsonell, who was expected to be a great receiver for them.
Which is 9 catches last 2 years for Riley. He puts up nearly 40 this year. Newby in and churning forward. He was a smaller back, getting a couple yards after contact.
Good catch. I saw that too. Why do you want the smaller, quicker guy in down here? I think you go with one of your bigger backs. You've got Cross you've used. Ozigbo, it's 225 pounds. Gives you that power and speed. I think maybe they'd go bigger back down here. Man, the quarter's about to end, and UCLA barely saw the football the entire third quarter.
2 drives worth. Quick punts.
Wow.
And Nebraska wrapping on the door of 300 yards on the ground. Mike Riley trying. Osborne got his first against the Bruins.
Over the UCLA defense, and that's called a third quarter can of whooping.
196 to 1.
Yep.
Total yards.
25 plays to 6.
Nebraska, 2nd and goal to start quarter number 4 in a game they trailed by 14. Armstrong is incomplete at the goal line, and the marker comes in. It's Randall Goforth on the coverage, and he may have been there early.
Pass interference. Defense, number 3. It's a spot foul at the 1. First down.
Boy, UCLA, 122nd in the country in penalties. They're 7th tonight.
Take a look at this here now. The left hand is clean. He's in front, knocks it around. He's got the right hand on him. That's okay so long as he doesn't turn. It didn't look like he turned him there to me. Well, we're seeing the tail end of it. If you're turning the guy, that's a penalty. If you're not turning him and that hand is just leverage, you're okay.
Big package in.
We'll turn.
And UCLA is on it. Imani Cross dragged back by Kenny Young, the sophomore out of New Orleans. 2nd and goal. Nebraska might be okay with that. Let some clock run. Continue to control the football behind Mike Riley in his first season.
Slow, methodical, shorten the game, making it more difficult, adding the pressure on UCLA.
Newby's checked in. Armstrong flares it out. Westerkamp incomplete.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan of the play selection down here. I mean, how many yards do they have rushing? 300?
Yeah, about 300.
300 yards rushing. You got a 1st and goal. You got an athletic quarterback who can run a little bit. I don't know why you're throwing fades down here.
Remember, they threw the ball again in an odd spot 3rd and goal last time through.
I get that you had that in the game plan all week and you thought it would work, but things change. You're whipping them. Run the ball. Run it 4 times in a row.
Even here, 3rd and goal from the 3.5, 4?
Well, maybe not now. You kind of put yourself in this spot, though.
They do. Armstrong is in.
Why are you throwing down here? Wow. I'd say Armstrong's having a night. He is having a night. Combination of his feet, decision making. He's been strong in the passing game. Doesn't need a 300-yard night. He needs to make good decisions and to use his feet, and he's done that.
Capital R redemption from that game against Iowa that he felt like, and he said it, he felt like he let the team down in that 4-interception game to close the regular season. Buck 63 on the air tonight for Armstrong, nearly 70 on the ground. Nebraska with a 16-point lead. ESPN
Can't
and
wait.
the ESPN app.
Can't wait.
You got your New Year's planned already?
I'll be watching these as I prep for my New Year's Day game.
Multitasker.
You know it.
Rod Gilmore. Roosevelt Davis on the UCLA return, and the special teams has been outstanding tonight for Nebraska coverage-wise. Let's take a look at the Big Four, brought to you by Wendy's. Cook, Henry, Mayfield, Watson. Everybody's got one key player. What do you think maybe the X factor is in the college football playoff?
Connor Cook.
Yep.
If he's healthy, now he's had that shoulder injury and he hasn't been quite the same, but if he's healthy, I think it changes that game with Alabama. He can challenge the Alabama secondary if he's healthy.
Pretty strong rush defense as well for Michigan State. Top 10 of the country. And Rosen incomplete, intended for Kenny Walker. I know there are rush defenses that are solid in the SEC, but Michigan State plays the run very well.
Yeah, they've done pretty well. I saw the Ohio State game. I think it's going to be kind of a slugfest, which is why I say if Connor Cook is healthy, hey, that game is much more of a toss-up than people think. Right now, UCLA is in dire straits. They need a score this drive.
They run on second down, and Nebraska collapses. Vincent Valentine, the very sizable junior out of Edwardsville, Illinois, a possible NFL draft guy himself.
Yeah, this, though, right now, this might be the biggest third down of the night for UCLA.
Yeah.
If they don't get this and they kick the ball back, they'll lose 4 or 5 minutes off the clock.
They've only run 8 plays since the second half started. 3 of 8. Third down tonight for Rosen and the Bruins. Nebraska brings 3 and flushes Rosen out. He set his feet, and he's got it on target. First down to Duarte, who we haven't seen for a while. It's big time for a big catch.
Well, they needed that. That was critical for UCLA. They must score this drive. They cannot stop Nebraska's rushing attack. And you have to figure you're going to lose 4 or 5 minutes off the clock if they get the ball back.
There was some question whether or not Josh Rosen would even have his play caller tonight with Noel Mazzoni, the offensive coordinator, who had fallen ill with a blood clot in his lung a couple of weeks ago. He is here tonight calling plays for the Bruins. 3 to snap it for Rosen. Oh, he fit that in nicely, and Walker turns it upfield into Cornhusker territory. Dangerous throw. He did it well. Gain of 17 for Rosen.
Well, Noah Mazzoni, the offensive coordinator, really has to come up with some great calls for UCLA now. They had some screen plays working for them earlier. They haven't gone back to them in a while.
Rosen looked like he wanted to pump and go, and throws a dagger down the sideline inside the 25 to Darren Andrews. The confidence building now for the freshman Rosen. Gain of 22 that time.
See how quickly he gets rid of that football? I mean, from start to finish, the time he decides to let go of it, it is out quickly.
Rosen hunkers in. Perkins to the outside, got a block from Payton. And he picks up about 8.5. Now UCLA just that quickly back into sync.
It can happen that way when you've got the kind of skill that UCLA has and you've got a quarterback who can make it happen.
18 out of 25 tonight for Rosen. Perkins skates to the edge, inside the 10. First down for Paul Perkins, who's 31st in the nation, coming in at all-purpose yards. Haven't really seen him a whole lot out of the backfield recently, as you mentioned.
Yeah, 1,200 yards plus rushing this year. Had over 1,500 last year. He's kind of ignored tonight, but a key down here.
At a $1.94 for UCLA. Rosen flares it out and dumps it in there for the touchdown. Peyton gets UCLA back on the board, and likely they'll go for 2.
That's just not fair. Peyton is such a strong, savvy veteran. He's working against the sophomore Kalu, and he just eats him up. I mean, this is not about speed. This is about setting the guy up and using your physical strength to push him away inside and know that you've got room to the corner and your quarterback can drop the ball in there. Savvy, savvy receiver.
Where do they go on this 2-point conversion?
Well, I still like Duarte. I think he's a tough matchup inside when you have him in that slot.
To make it a 1-score game.
And they're moving him now across the formation.
Rosen looks that way. Duarte has got it. Nice call.
He's 6'4", 225, and you move him across the formation. Linebacker's not staying with him, and the safety is too small to jump with him back there. He's on a guy who's 5'11", but this is Peyton setting this up beautifully. Like that one, huh? And come right back the other way. Duarte against a 5'11" guy. What a pass. Dropped it right in there. UCLA
had a couple of games go awry down the stretch. They had some strong moments and losses. UCLA opens 4-0, ends up 8-4, and neither team has really settled into runaway mode.
And just like the Iowa game, Nebraska's defense is working without Gary. Kicked out for targeting.
Ejected late, very late in that first half. And Nebraska's Stanley Morgan, his return draws multiple flags as he gets toward the 15. Morgan, who had the touchdown earlier, down injured.
Illegal block in the back, 42 of the return team.
So, damaging penalty for Nebraska. And they'll check on the status of Morgan, the freshman out of New Orleans. Take a look at the tackle.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the first hit or the second hit. But one of those hits seemed to be toward the side or the back.
You know, and some folks watching that might say, why isn't that a late hit on Morgan? Officials likely saying that the UCLA player was already committed to diving when Morgan was heading to the ground. So Morgan helped up and off the field. Now Nebraska play calling, Rod Gilmore. What do? UCLA scores on you, you're up 8.
Well, I think they continue to pound it, particularly down here. I don't think they want to take a chance and put Armstrong in a tough spot of trying to make a play throwing from his own end zone.
Very efficient night for the junior, Tommy Armstrong, and they'll run it with Ozigbo on first down.
Jason, keep in mind, they have been effective running Armstrong. So that's another choice, another option for them down here, is to get him involved in the quarterback design runs instead of throwing from your own end zone right now.
Nearly 300 yards tonight, 288 for Nebraska. You'll see more rushing in that Pittsburgh Navy game, you have to imagine, with Keenan Reynolds at the helm of the midshipmen. Business for Nebraska on second down. Play action for Armstrong. And he whips it out to the edge, and Riley at the 20-yard line. First down for Nebraska.
That is gutsy. That is gutsy. I mean, UCLA was not in bad coverage. They were prepared for this, but Armstrong really squeezed this one in there in front of two guys.
That was Ishmael Adams on the closest coverage. He's a guy who likes to jump routes. He has 3 touchdowns in his career. Riley got in front of him. Ozigbo, the freshman. Well, he's made a couple nice cuts early in runs tonight. Second down.
He couldn't cut away from Clark that time, and you can't block Kenny Clark one-on-one. And Nebraska's done a good job of doubling him. That last time they tried to block him one-on-one, and he made the play. We talked about that in the first half. You run away from him. If you're going to run at him, you better double team him.
He's one of those guys for UCLA that you talked about earlier, a possible top 2 round pick in the NFL draft if he decides to come out after his junior season. Newbie there.
That's Clark.
Swallowed up by Clark. And, you know, it's funny. Tack McKinley, who's with him on the defensive line, is trying to get him to come back to school. He's leaving sandwiches in his locker as bait to say, come on, Kenny, we'll take care of you.
You got to do more than that. Watch right there. Just watch the way he dominates the center. Woo. Dominates, controls, and makes the tackle. You cannot block him with one guy up there. If you want to run it, double team him. He said, I'm tired of being pushed around. I'm tired of my teammates being pushed around.
Nebraska 6 of 8 on 3rd down. Ticking down to 9 to play. Armstrong with time, and his receiver slipped. Westerkamp couldn't keep his feet. Punt time for Nebraska.
Rosen time for UCLA.
Foltz, the leading punter in the Big Ten, will kick it to Devin Fuller. The worry for Mike Riley was team speed on special teams. No chance to return for Fuller on a fair catch after a punt of 48. The freshman out of St. John Bosco will take the wheel for 2 teams with a combined 21 wins. And Josh Rosen, the true freshman at the end of his first season at UCLA, trailing by 8, has a strike on 1st down to the 35. And he hits Eldridge Massington for his first catch, 2nd down UCLA.
Hurry up tempo here. Rosen, comfortable.
For Darren Andrews. Blockers in front, and Andrews off the Duarte seal has a 1st down just short of midfield.
UCLA has used Andrews, Walker, and Johnson to get more speed out there, take advantage of it on the outside because they don't have enough with Peyton Massington.
Quick set again for Rosen to the outside, and Steven Johnson, the freshman from Rosen, looks like he's got the 1st down.
Yeah, we talked about this a few moments ago about Noah Mazzoni, the offensive coordinator, having used the screen game in the first half and then kind of went away from it. He's come back to it now here late in the 4th quarter.
He's got a guy at the controls, Rosen, who went 245 straight passes without a pick this year. Perkins finds a crease to the 35. 2nd down. So how does Rosen, as a true freshman with his makeup, differ from maybe somebody else in this spot?
Well, I don't know. I believe that a guy who kind of grew up playing tennis, an individual sport, it was always on him, and he was in those pressure matches. I think he's used to this stuff. I think he's comfortable with it. He's kind of shown that.
Again for Johnson, the freshman, turning up the speed. Just short of the 15. 1st down to UCLA.
Again, these guys, Johnson and Walker. Walker scored a touchdown earlier. They're out there for speed to get to the edge. Something they weren't able to do with some other guys. That's why they're out there, and they're taking full advantage of it.
Duarte and Peyton have become right tackle and right guard on the last couple of plays.
Yeah.
Rosen. Pocket collapsed. Nearly intercepted. Oh my, that was Banderas, the junior middle linebacker, who almost reeled it in.
That is not Rosen's strong suit. On the run, throwing on the run, that is not his strong suit. We've documented that tonight for you. That is not what he does best. He's a pocket guy, and very few are better than him in the pocket.
The difference has been clear tonight. Nebraska's defense led by Banderas. Without Gary, the safety, he was ejected for targeting. Just barely got it off. Rosen incomplete.
Good play by Kulu, who was beaten that last drive by Peyton. A very aggressive move to come up and make this play. He's their best cover guy. Did a nice job there.
He had his first career pick against Miami in the fourth quarter in a huge spot. Nearly had one there. Third down.
Showing pressure. And Rosen changes the play. Now it looks like Nebraska's taking off the blitz they had planned.
6 to snap it. Rosen wasn't ready for it. Ball loose. And UCLA does get on top of it with Christian Garcia, but a huge loss, maybe forcing a field goal.
How about that? You know, you talk about changing things around. He and the center were not on the same page. Rosen was still making adjustments when the ball was snapped. Never saw it.
That's a tremendous center, too. Jake Brendel in his 52nd college start, the most for any Bruin. Snapped it early. It's up to Kaimi Fairbairn, the senior, from 46. He'd made 19 in a row earlier this year. This one is no good. The Groza winner misses. Nebraska holds the line. The fumble leads to a deeper field goal. And Fairbairn blasts it wide. Nebraska trying to hold on to a close one against UCLA. Trombone certainly hope so. Tommy Armstrong leads the offense out, and they run on first down. It's been a busy night for Kenny Clark and that defensive line. Ozigbo's got a yard. 2nd down and 9. How conservative is your play calling here, Rod Gilmore?
Well, so far pretty conservative, but look what they're facing. They're facing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's an 8-man front, and they're running right into it. That makes it tough. But I think they'll stay with it. Now, one equalizer they have is Armstrong. Get him involved in the run game, and that 8-man front isn't as scary.
He's run the ball well so far tonight. 67 yards and a touchdown for Tommy Armstrong, the junior quarterback. And that's miscommunication for Alonzo Moore. It was a stop and go. Quarterback thought stop, receiver thought go.
Yeah, I really thought they should have stayed with the run. I understand. You see the 8-man front and you kind of go, we got to get away from it. But I thought the answer was to get Armstrong involved and save your throw for 3rd down. And now Armstrong has to basically come up with a 3rd and 9 play. UCLA, remember, a little bit more athletic on the outside. They can stay with your receivers a bit. So now you got to come up with a big throw.
They've been strong on 3rd and long defense this year. The Bruins have 3rd and 9. There's the run from Armstrong, giving ground, wanted to throw, and down he goes. Ishmael Adams finally closed the door at the 15-yard line, a loss of 14.
Terrific job by UCLA, particularly Adams. Adams was being blocked by Riley, pushed him off, and went and made this play. I still think that was a bad sequence of play calling for Nebraska.
Starting with the 2nd down play.
Absolutely.
UCLA uses a timeout, so 2 remaining for the Bruins to save the time here rather than later on in the game. At this point, UCLA might get the ball a couple of times. We'll find out. And don't forget, following our game today for the Pac-12 coming into this one, as Foltz gets it off, but just barely across midfield, getting 39 yards on the punt. Josh Rosen gets to re-rack it.
We got Max and the coach coming up on SportsCenter. That's awesome. Happy holidays to the boys back in Bristol.
Sounds like a buddy cop movie that somebody could plan. Max and the coach.
And just as fun when you hang out with those guys. And UCLA.
My invite lost in the mail.
Oh, well.
On that one.
You have a thing about cold weather.
Thank you. First down for Rosen. 23 out of 32. Been much better in the pocket tonight. Quick throw. Nicely done. Across the 45 and out of bounds. Kenny Walker, who had the long touchdown earlier. 6th 300-yard game in his freshman year for Rosen, tying Cade McNown for the most in one season in UCLA history. Rosen again. Darren Andrews trying to push for more yardage, and they'll blow it dead. Second down coming up.
That is like the 4th or 5th bubble screen we've seen in the last 2 drives. It's something that Noel Mazzoni, the O coordinator, is going back to again and again. He keeps going back to it until Nebraska changes their defense. He's going to keep pushing it.
You think it's a setup maybe?
Absolutely. He wants them to change. He wants to throw it down the field.
Rosen, intermediate route, and Payton was hung up with Kalu. UCLA might want to flag there from Payton's look. It's third down.
Now, Payton's a very physical receiver. Gets himself loose this time. Just a little push away, his left arm, a little push, but Kalu, that's hand fighting. I let it go.
UCLA 22nd best in the country on third down, just 4 for 10 tonight, below its average.
Where is 18? Where is Duarte? That's where they need to be looking.
He's the other way. Instead, Rosen threads it through for Payton, his favorite target on the year. First down, Bruins, 3:42 to go.
What a tough catch. What a tough catch. Payton knew he was going to take a hit and took it.
No rush for UCLA. 2 timeouts, 3 and change.
That's the guy they have trouble matching up with.
Downstairs, incomplete. Pried away from Kenny Walker by Chris Jones, the sophomore out of Jacksonville.
Good job by Jones staying with it to knock it out. Now, another big play. Will Nebraska bring pressure? Will they risk it?
Young corners on the outside like Jones, the sophomore.
Here it comes.
Here comes the pressure. UCLA picks it up. Single coverage on the outside and incomplete. There's another hat on the ground, and Nebraska fans have got to be tired of that now. Receiver out of bounds late in the game.
Oh. It actually worked to their advantage against Michigan State. And this is Payton, who goes out of bounds but never comes up with it anyway. Non-event. 2-down territory. I don't think they have to get 10 here. I think they'll go for it on 4th down. If they get 5 or 6, that's plenty.
Rosen 8 of 10 on third down. Scanning. That came out wildly, and it's 4th down. He wanted Duarte.
Yeah, that's the matchup. He tries to work. Now, they put Antonio Reed on Duarte because Reed is 6'2". He's the closest thing to a big defensive back that they have that they can put on Duarte. I go back to him. And if you got to have it, it's either him or Payton, but I like that matchup with Duarte if I'm UCLA and Rosen.
7 out of 12, 4th down this year for the Bruins. They roll Rosen out. He doubles back. Under pressure. Rosen gets it away. Intercepted. Jones picks it off.
Jason, we've said all night, Rosen out of the pocket, not good. And UCLA takes them out of the pocket intentionally. This is not his strong suit. You see the pressure by Collins? This is not what he does best. He's running for his life, and making that adjustment and throwing the ball is not his thing. It gets picked off. Rather see him in the pocket, give him extra protection if you need to, but let him be in the pocket and throw it.
What's the idea there, you think?
They're trying to move him away from pressure. They knew more blitz was coming, but I think you're better off trying to protect against that blitz than trying to move him. He's just not that good on the move.
Nebraska will now try and sap out the 2 timeouts for UCLA. Ozigbo on first down. Now 1 remaining for the Bruins after this one. So a Nebraska team that had lost 7 games by 31 points combined coming in, had been damaged so much by turnovers, 5 in the Purdue loss, has an 8-point lead in the 4th quarter and is +1 in turnovers tonight.
Well, you can't say that they didn't want to be here. You can't say that UCLA didn't want to be here. Spirited, competitive ball game now. But again, a 5-7 team that, as you mentioned, 4 games, last play of the game, they lost. Last play. They easily could have won a couple of more.
So for Mike Riley's team, a chance to at least streamline things into next season. Get that 6th win, avoid an 8th loss for the first time in 7 decades.
One thing they found is a way to handle and bring along Armstrong, the quarterback.
He runs and evades Wallace. Armstrong! First down across the 45. What a cap for Tommy Armstrong.
Don't you have to be happy for a young man who felt he was at the bottom of the world just a couple of weeks ago, a few weeks ago after the loss to Iowa, in which he threw so many picks, felt responsible for the loss, and he's responded tonight with a brilliantly played ball game.
Early in the game, he had a fumble inside the red zone. Thought it might negatively affect him. It really didn't.
No, he shook it off. He went on a hot streak with his feet, made some really good throws. He's just made really good decisions tonight. Something that he struggled with this season. So clearly the bowl practices and his recommitment to fundamentals and becoming a better quarterback have worked. I mean, he's on the right path now, and I think Mike Riley will tell you that after the ball game. They like the path he's on with things tonight.
UCLA has exhausted its timeouts, and Nebraska content to run. Ozigbo on first down, building on 306 yards on the ground for Nebraska. Remember, UCLA saw the Trojans run 59 times against him in the regular season finale. 58 now tonight for Nebraska.
Hard to win when you give up 300 yards rushing. Hard to win when you give up 200 yards rushing. And this is going to be an issue that UCLA will have to deal with next season, stopping the run.
One more time on the ground. A first down would do it. 3rd down coming up, and 2, and coming up immediately after our game on ESPN. Tune into ESPN3 for exclusive live coverage of the Foster Farms Bowl Trophy Ceremony presented by Capital One. UCLA needs a stop on this 3rd and 2. Nebraska takes the clock down, may use a timeout here.
Yeah, they should run this all the way down and take the timeout and not the penalty. They're down to 5.
Armstrong gets it off, and they run the reverse to seal the deal with Sethan Carter, the tight end. Wow.
Another little trickeration, they say, for the appropriate time, and it was this 3rd down and short, and Carter typically not used in the rushing attack, at least certainly not tonight. Shows up with one here.
His second carry of the season.
Yep.
Salts away, it looks like, a Nebraska win in a season where the Cornhuskers sometimes found creative ways to lose. They go outside the box for a win in Santa Clara. How about the Capital One player of the game tonight? Fairly easy call, right?
Yeah, that man right there, Tommy Armstrong. I mean, look at the numbers. What you don't see is the decision making he made. Great running on 10 carries, 12 of 19 passing, touchdown pass, 0 interceptions.
One fumble likely caused by the face mask that went uncalled. One more kneel down for the junior out of the state of Texas. Tommy Armstrong in Nebraska. Oh, those 5-7 teams are 2-0 in bowl games. And a huge smile on the face of Armstrong for a very good reason.
A little redemption for him after the Iowa game, but how about 2 5-7 teams, San Jose State and Nebraska, both win their bowl games?
One left, the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Nebraska, the Foster Farms Bowl champion in 2015. Nebraska goes to 6-7. UCLA finishes the year at 8-5 after a 4-0 start. Don't forget, trophy presentation follows on ESPN3, and our final score here: Nebraska 37, UCLA 29. The Nebraska Cornhuskers, your 2015 Foster Farms Bowl champions. Coming up next, stay tuned for Sports Center and for exclusive live coverage of the Foster Farms Bowl trophy ceremony presented by Capital One. Join us on ESPN3 in just a few moments. Sports Center is coming up in 15 seconds.
All right. Coach Riley, so many people said you shouldn't be here. You were risking 8 losses, which would have been horrific.
Yeah.
What kept this group together and what allowed you to win this game?
These kids were good all year long, Shelley. They never quit. We had a lot of tight games, and there's reasons we lost them, but these guys didn't let it discourage them. I knew we were a good football team, and I thought we'd represent ourselves well tonight. These guys just got ready to play a good team and did a great job.
Tommy Armstrong had such a disaster against Iowa. How was he able to bounce back and play so well tonight?
You know, he is another guy that's pretty resilient, and he got ready to play, prepared. There was a great mixture of football tonight offensively. He used his legs and ran well. He made good choices in the passing game, and then he managed the rest of the game real well. He's very played real well tonight.
So how do you take this? It's always great to end the season on a win and move forward, use that as momentum.
Well, it's great for this group that is going to be graduating, for the seniors to end 2015, and for us, the way the year went, to get a win, it was great. And it's also a great kickoff to 2016. It's just a little bit of sign of what we want to do, Shelley.
Great. Thanks so much, Coach. Appreciate it. Okay.
Thank you, Coach.
Go? All right. Tommy, with all the bad breaks and the rotten luck that you guys have had all season long and problems, how did this group stay together in order to win tonight?
Honestly, I just think it was just another blessing of having another game. Like I said before, we have a 5-7 team, but that record doesn't say anything about this team. We got a lot of heart, a lot of seniors that are graduating or has graduated, and it's a great feeling to come out here and get a win. Definitely with those group of guys that's worked their tails off each and every day in this 2 weeks of game planning for UCLA. They're a great team, but like I said before, our record does no justice for us, and we just want to come out there and prove it.
Why were you so effective running the ball against these guys?
Honestly, I think just the running game was on par. We always made sure that we blocked up front hard, and those guys ran well. So it opened up a lot for me just by pulling it sometimes and trying to get the first down. And it came up handy that last drive of the game.
It seemed like, the way that your season's gone, that of course this was going to go to overtime and it was going to be dramatic. How did you keep it from doing that?
Honestly, just believing in our defense. They got us stops when they needed to. They got us the last stop, and we just wanted to make sure that we ended the game when we were out there. That was our mindset of just making sure that we're able to capitalize, get first downs when we're able to, and we did that.
Great. Thanks so much, Tommy. Appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hey, Tommy. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here for what was undoubtedly the most exciting
We welcome you to ESPN3's exclusive live coverage of the 2015 Foster Farms Bowl Trophy Ceremony presented by Capital One, and we'll be right back with the festivities down on the field after this message.
So, Mike, after so many close losses, it must feel wonderful to win one like this.
How about those Huskers? Yeah, it does feel great, and all the credit goes to these guys right here. They stayed with it all year long, never quit, played their best ball tonight. That is big time. The Huskers travel well. Thank you, everybody back there in the stands. Go Big Red.
So, Mike, a lot of people said you guys didn't belong in a bowl game with a 5-7 record. You just beat an 8-4 team. Is this an indication for the Huskers?
I guess we did. No, we really thought all along that we understood how it happened. But we also knew the kind of team we could be. And so what this did, what you did, is you provided us a chance to prove that we are a good football team. And it was really a lot of great preparation by the coaches and the players to get this win tonight.
And this has got to be an amazing springboard into next year.
Great for our seniors that are going out. And great for everybody that's coming back. It's a kickoff into next year. Appreciate you seniors. Everybody else take note. We'll get after it for next year.
Congratulations, Mike.
Right, fans, that concludes tonight's game and presentation. Thank you so much for attending tonight's game. Remember to drive carefully on your way home, and we'll see you all back here next year.
Let's take a look at the Capital One Cup overall standings. The Capital One Cup is awarded annually to the best men's and women's Division I college athletic programs, and with it a total of $400,000 in scholarship funds for student athletes. Penn State continues to hold the top position on the women's side. Nebraska up to the second spot after defeating Texas 3-0 for the women's volleyball championship with 60 points. That was last Saturday. Stanford's on top of the men's standing after the soccer title with a 4-0 victory over Clemson in the men's College Cup championship on December 13th. To find out more and follow your favorite school in the standings, go to CapitalOneCup.com. UCLA number 5 on the men's side, with Nebraska number 2 on the women's side. Final score from the Foster Farms Bowl, 37-29 in favor of the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And we thank you for watching ESPN3's exclusive live coverage of the 2015 Foster Farms Bowl post-game trophy ceremony presented by Capital One. Mike Riley in Nebraska get the win, and we thank you for joining us.